find when life gets more intense and feels more complex, that my practices become more simple, but intensified. So maybe I used to be doing some elaborate practice that had all of these different rituals. And then when life gets really intense, that I would do it like once a day. But then when life starts to get a little more complicated and overwhelming, my practice becomes as simple as just coming back to my breath, but I do it intentionally every hour, right? So maybe take a little bit of that, right? So if life is feeling a bit much and you are noticing the mind trying to problem solve all the time, which is fine, it's good, it's what it does, right? Can you get a little more committed to finding your center by way of the breath? So just notice your inhale and your exhale. It's natural for the mind to want to jump in and create a narrative around the breath or to try to control it, and just thank the mind for all of its hard work and redirect it back to just noticing your inhale and your exhale. Feel the connection of your legs and your sits bones on the ground or cushion or whatever you're sitting on. Feel the broadness of your pelvic bowl that supports you. And then feel the length of the spine gracefully yet strongly rising up towards the sky. And as the spine gently lifts up, the shoulders soften, the throat relaxes. Feel a broadness and an openness to the crown of the head. And then get really curious. What's showing up for you right now? Start to deepen the breath, please. Feel the belly expand a little bit more on your inhale. Feel a little bit more of a softening as you exhale. And as you're ready, if you'd like to, take the palms of the hands together and rub them, please. Maybe take a couple of clearing breaths as we do this. So it's kind of like we're charging ourselves up a bit. Okay, keep the shoulders soft, please. And then come to Anjali Mudra if that's comfortable for you, right? So palms together, thumbs at your heart center, and the sternum rises to meet the thumb just a little bit. So you feel really broad through the collarbone. And then if you would like to join, we'll tune in by chanting Om. So please take a deep breath in. Om. Go ahead and release the mudra if you've got it. And we're going to start on our backs, actually. So transitioning to a reclined shape with the knees bent and the feet on the floor. once you get there, I want you to find this connection. So there's this really great yoga teacher, Laura Hyman, who I'm kind of obsessed with right now. You may have heard of her. She's a physical therapist and a yoga teacher. And she has this thing where she calls it the triple S. It is your sacrum, your scapula, which are your shoulder blades, and your skull. So I want you to see if you can feel the triple S, the sacrum, that's the flat spot at the base of your spine, your shoulder blades, and your skull connected to the floor. Okay, these are kind of like points of reference for you. And you're not really doing anything, you're just feeling them sink down into the floor. Okay. And then from here, I want you to start to windshield wiper your knees from side to side. Okay, so while you're doing this, I want you to think about what's going on with the sacrum, the shoulder blades, and the skull. Right, so we're kind of striving to keep these things lined up as we move here. Okay. All right, and then come back to center, please. So your feet are going to be underneath your knees or farther. So if you have like mischievous knees that kind of squawk at you sometimes, if they're in too much of a tight flexion, too bent, I'm going to encourage you to press your feet away from your bum a little bit, so the bend of the knee is a little more shallow. Okay. And then take your hands and bring the heels of the hands right up to your hip creases, like right where your thighs meet your pelvis. Some of us might be able to find our hip points here. And I like to kind of like make like mitten hands and bring my thumbs to the insides of my thighs and the rest of my fingers to the outside. And then just gently press your hands away, like you're stretching through the hip flexors. I feel this in my low back as well in my body. So just kind of checking where you feel it. But again, noticing, can you keep the sacrum, the shoulder blades, and the skull like broad and heavy on the floor? So sometimes when we start to engage, we'll round forward. Can you keep the chest really open here? And with this openness in the low belly, take a deep breath in, like expand your tummy out. And then as you exhale, maybe find a little more stretch in that front of the hips. Okay. Keep that pressure on the thighs, please. Keep that broadness of the low back on the floor, and press your feet down into the floor to lift your hips up. So you're kind of pressing the thigh flesh forward as you lift your bum off the floor. It doesn't matter how high you go. We're really just trying to wake the glutes up here, okay? So kind of notice how you've created this space here. And then if you want to, go ahead and release your hands down onto the floor, tucking your shoulder blades underneath you. You might even kind of poke your bum to really make sure that those glute muscles are on and awake, okay? And you're pressing down through the big toe mound, little toe mound, and the heel of the feet, and they're gently pulling back in space to engage the hamstrings as well, okay? Take an inhale here, and then bring your hands back to your upper hips and exhale, lower your pelvis down as you press your thighs away, so you're creating that space again. Okay, keep pressing through the thighs, and then inhale, lift your hips up, come into your bridge pose. Keep the neck and shoulders soft. That's beautiful, you guys. Yeah, and then exhale, lower down. And just do that one more time, really engaging the gluteals here. So inhale up. Find that length in the hip flexors as we move here. And then exhale down. Okay. Then heel toe your feet as wide as your mat. Knock your knees in towards each other, and then rest your hands on your belly if that's comfy. Take a deep breath in until you feel your belly rise into your hands. And exhale, feel the low back soften. Okay. And then heel toe your feet back about hips width, with the knees over the feet, okay? And then we're gonna lift ourselves up into our bridge pose again. So lift up the hips, okay? And you can stay right here if you want to. Bring your hands onto your hip points. So you're kind of like noticing where your pelvis is in space. And then slowly start to lift your right heel off the floor, but don't let your pelvis move. So you're just kind of like pointing your toes almost here. And then lower that heel down. And then do the other side. So lift the left heel up off the floor, but don't move the pelvis. And then lower the heel down, and then we'll just go back and forth a few times. Check in with the upper body. Are you soft through the throat? The back of the skull is pressing into the floor gently. As you pulse back and forth, back and forth. Okay. And then we'll bring the feet back down onto the heels back down onto the floor. And then lower the hips down. And this time, windshield wiper your knees from side to side. So I think that cueing didn't land great on my end for Zoom. So you might take a peek at what I'm doing because I feel like I miscued you. So what I'm trying to get you to do is open up the plantar fascia on the feet. So come back to your back with your knees bent, okay? So I noticed some of you were lifting your foot off the floor, which totally makes sense. That's lifting your heel. What I want you to do is to keep the balls of the feet on the floor and lift. You're up in bridge pose. And you lift one heel up and down, and then the other heel up and down, okay? So this is kind of a movement, if that's appropriate in your body. If you were just modifying them, don't listen to me. Okay? Got it, okay. So go ahead and lift your hips off the floor if you haven't already. Continue to keep that length in the front body, and then curl the right heel off the floor, plus the ball of that right foot down. You're gonna stretch to the front of the ankle, and lower the right heel down, yes. Lift the left heel up, keep the pelvis still. So you've got to use your posterior chain to do this. Lower the left heel down. And then you just kind of march back and forth. I don't know why, I always think of this as like an 80s dance move when we start to pedal the heels, right? Yeah, okay. Come back to center with both heels on the floor, please. Okay. And then if you need a little more support staying in bridge, go ahead and bend your elbows so that your fingers are pointing up towards the ceiling, and then lift both heels off the floor. So you're pressing the balls of the feet down, the tailbone is shooting forward, okay? And then if this is okay for you, I want you to lift your arms up towards the ceiling. Now this is adding more, so if it's too much, don't do it, okay? And then just start to lower and lift the heels from this shape. The heads of the arm bones are settling into your shoulder sockets. And then press the palm of your right hand up towards the ceiling and grab the fingers of your right hand with your left hand. So you're stretching through the forearm here. And we'll do this for 5, 4, please breathe. 3, 2, 1. Let the heels settle back down, okay, but keep the hips lifted if you can. And switch sides. So now you're going to pull back the left fingers with your right hand. Keep the pelvis still, and if you're into it, you're going to pick the heels up and down again. Deep breaths. Yeah. For 5, 4, 3. Good job, you guys. 2, 1. Go ahead and come to center. Let the heels come down. Roll your hips back down to the floor. Yeah, and I think you'll instinctively want to do what you need to do. Hugging your knees to your body might be a nice option. And kind of shaking out the feet, the ankles, and the calves. So we've been waking that area up and bringing some heat into the soles of the feet. Good, okay. Come to center here. So the feet are, the knees are bent, the feet are on the floor. And just a couple of times, windshield wiper the knees again from side to side. Okay. Then we'll come to center. And we'll float the feet up towards the ceiling. Okay. But I want you to check in as you do this on that triple S again. So the sacrum, the shoulder blades, the skull, are they nice and broad and connected to the floor here? And then press the heels up towards the ceiling as you curl your toes back. So you're spreading through the soles of the feet. Broaden through the low belly, okay? And now bring your hands behind your neck. Your elbows are gonna point up and kind of back a bit towards the crown of your head so that you're really broad through the upper back. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, lift yourself up, tuck your chin, okay? And then inhale, come back down. And again, exhale, lift up, hollow out your belly. Beautiful, you guys. And then inhale back down. If this is too much, bring the feet to the floor, please. Exhale, lift. Inhale down. Okay, I'm going to add on to this. Exhale, lift. Twist to the left. Come back to center. Inhale, back down. Exhale, lift. Twist to the right. Inhale, center and down. Exhale, lift. Twist to the left. Inhale, center and down. Exhale, lift and twist to the right. Inhale, back down. Okay, I'm going to add on to that if you want to come with me. Exhale, lift. Twist to the left. Punch your right arm to the outer edge of your left leg
And then reach a little bit more forward so you feel that right shoulder blade pull out to the side. Hello, obliques, right? And then inhale back through center and down. Exhale, lift, twist to the right, punch with your left arm. Reach a little more until you feel that left shoulder blade move. Then inhale back down. Exhale, lift, punch with the right, twist to the left. Good, inhale back down. Exhale, lift, twist, punch with the left. Push a little more, and then inhale back down. One more time on each side. Exhale, curl, punch right, twist left. Inhale back down. One more, exhale, curl, twist right, punch with the left, reach a little more. Inhale back down, and then go ahead and just let it go. Oh. Windshield wiper your knees from side to side, please. When the knees come to the left side, I want you to squeeze your right glute till you feel a little more of a stretch in that right thigh. Then roll your knees to the right and squeeze your left glute. Do this a few times. Okay. Then come to center. We're going to hug the knees into the body. And then begin to roll ourselves forward and back if you're into this. And we're going to make our way to tabletop position. So if you want to cross your ankles and roll over your shins together, go for it. If you want to roll to one side, whichever way works for you. Good. I'll meet you in hands and knees. Okay, so I know people have got different feet. If you're really working with the, particularly with like plantar fasciitis, right? Curling the toes in this shape might feel really nice, right? So it's kind of encouraging an opening and a spreading of the fascia on the bottoms of the feet. If you got toe stuff going on though, you might keep the tops of the feet on the floor. Okay, so just kind of choose what's best for you. And then we'll come into this shape, right? So think again about the skull, the shoulder blades, and the sacrum. Can you line them up, right? So get really active with the hands. Rotate the biceps forward as you wrap the triceps back, right? So the front of the top of the arms are coming forward. You're scooping the low belly here. And then keep the arms pretty straight here and then start to lower your chest down towards the floor till you feel your shoulder blades pull towards each other. And then start to pull the shoulder blades apart as you feel your rib cage rise away from the floor. So just do this a few times. So it's like you're scrubbing the subscapularis, right, Kelly? Some space underneath the shoulder blades, right? Those muscles in between the ribs and the scapula. This is a really sweet movement if you are rounded forward, as many of us are, on a computer. Good. Make sure that the low belly is engaged to keep the low back broad, maybe 3 more times. Good. Okay, come back to center, please. Poke your toes if they're not already, please, if that's appropriate for you. Keep the length of the spine as you hover your knees off the floor about 1 inch or 2. Okay, so it's as if nothing else moves. You just float the knees up. Recommit to that length of the spine. Press the chest forward between the arms just a little bit. Take a deep breath in. And then lift with your low belly to send yourself up and back to your downward facing dog. Okay, and then pedal your feet with the intention of stretching through the bottoms of the feet and the heels and the calves. Then come to stillness in this shape, okay? Think about this energetic movement of the inner thighs pressing towards each other and then back so that you are internally rotating your thighs and maybe robbing through the hips as you hollow out your belly and press your sits bones up and back. The triceps are continuing to wrap back as well, which will make the shoulder blades glue to the back body. Let the head hang as best you can. Take a deep breath in and out. Okay, keep that engagement of the low belly. Start to slowly walk your hands back towards your feet. As you bend your knees and hinge at your hips till your belly is maybe resting on or in between your thighs. And maybe send your weight back even more than you think. so that you create a little shelf for yourself here. And just let yourself drape here. Take a deep breath into the back body. And as you exhale, let the weight of your head dangle down towards the floor. Okay? And then walk your hands forward. And come back to your downward facing dog. Nice, you guys. I love it. Like the bend of the knees is there to support the length of the spine, right? Take a deep breath in. Exhale, shift your weight forward to plank position, please. Okay, so that might be modified with the knees down. Think about how your shoulder blades are helping you with this shape. Can you glue them to the back body? Think about them squeezing together and down towards your tailbone. And at the same time, your pubic bone is pulling up. Take a deep breath in. And then exhale, lower your knees. Keep the length of the spine and lower yourself all the way down to your belly. Tops of the feet come into the mat. Squeeze the elbows in towards your center line. Press your hands down and back to encourage the chest to lift as you come into a little baby cobra, really opening up through the collarbones. Exhale, release. Do that again, please. Inhale. Press the hands down and back to lift the chest. Look over the left shoulder. A nice stretch here, and then exhale down. Inhale, lift up again. Look over the right shoulder. Exhale down. Okay. Hook your toes, please. Find that lift of the pelvic floor till you feel your tailbone tuck a bit. Then press yourself up through your plank. And then back to Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, bend your knees. End of your exhale, feet come to hands and fold at the front of your mat. Good. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Okay. Keep that deep hinge of the hips as you roll the weight back into the heels and then roll yourself up to standing, please. Okay. When you come to standing, shrug your shoulders up, back, and down. And come to your Tadasana with the palms rotated forward. Again, so notice how the shoulder blades are creating this movement, right? Lift your toes up, spread them wide, float them down. So you're really solid and broad through the bottoms of the feet. The spine is tall. And now that we're in this different shape, come back to this triple S, the sacrum, the shoulder blades, and the skull, the back of the skull. So you might even pull your chin back and up just a little bit to create more length to the neck. And then take a deep breath in and out. Okay, inhale your arms out and up, please. And exhale to a fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step your right foot back and bring your right knee down. And come up to a low lunge, please. So hinging back so that, again, the sacrum, the shoulder blades, and the back of the skull are aligned up here. The arms hang down the sides of the body. The inner thighs are pulling gently towards each other. And then just start to do some shoulder rolls here. Take a clearing breath or two. Okay, come to center. Inhale, float the fingertips forward and up. Keep the pelvis stationary. Then exhale, hands to the floor. Step back to plank position, please. Long spine, you're gluing the shoulder blades to the back body. Inhale. Exhale, lower your knees, your chest, and your chin. Inhale, slide your chest forward and up, find your cobra. Exhale to your downward facing dog. Inhale to find length and stability in this shape. Exhale to ground. Inhale again, please. And then exhale, step your right foot forward and bring your left knee down, finding your low lunge on the other side. Okay. Then rise yourself up. Nice long line, beautiful, you guys. Find that stability in the legs and the feet, so pull the inner thighs together. Squeeze your left glute just a little bit, and then again, shoulder rolls. Right, finding stability so that you can soften. Can you approach these shoulder rolls by the movement of your shoulder blades? Like that is what's creating the movement. Yeah. Okay. Come to center. Pubic bone up towards low ribs that are cinched. Inhale, float the fingertips up towards the ceiling. Keep all that compaction in the abdomen here as you lift. And then exhale, hands to the floor. Step back to plank position. Let's hang out in plank just for a moment. And start to rock your knees from side to side, doing your best to keep the shoulder girdle pretty still as you use your obliques, those deep side muscles in the abdomen, to move your hips from side to side. Then come to center, please. Inhale here in plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin to the floor. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Take about 3 breaths here, please. If that feels sustainable for you. Contemplate in your body this balance between softness and stability, movement and stillness. Okay. Then on your next exhale, come down to tabletop position again. Just start to sway your hips from side to side. Get right to the edge on each side where you're feeling a nice stretch right in the center of your hip joint. But where you still feel stable in the pelvis and the low back. There's kind of a sweet spot for that. Then come to center. And we'll flex and extend the spine a few times. So exhale, round the spine as you find your angry cat back. Inhale, find extension. Exhale, round. Inhale, extend. Feel how the shoulder blades are coming close and apart as you move here. One more of those, please. Okay. And then we come back to center. Find your stability again. So check in with the triple S, right? The back of the skull, the shoulder blades, the sacrum, the low back. They're lined up here. So again, you might need to tuck your chin up and back just a little bit. Round the triceps back. And then press the sole of the right foot up towards the ceiling with the knee bent. So you really feel those right glutes or weight here. Lifting through the low belly to keep the pelvis still. And then draw 3 circles in one direction with that right knee. Breathing as you move. Keeping the pelvis stationary. And then 3 in the other direction. Good. Come back to center. Keep the sole of the foot lifted. Straighten the leg. Toes are pointing down. You might want to press the floor away from you a little more with your hands. Okay. And then bring the ball of that right foot down. Pivot on the heel. Press down into the left hand to rise yourself up into a supported side plank here. Okay. So if with that left foot lined up with the body feels a little precarious, you can pivot on the knee and kickstand the foot behind you. Okay. Either way, I want you to think about the side body on the left side is cinching together as you glue the left shoulder blade to the back body. And then bring the right bicep along the ear. And maybe drop the left ear towards the left shoulder. So you're getting a neck stretch, a side stretch here. Deep breath in. Then bring the right hand to your hip, please. And maybe lift that right foot off the floor if that feels good to you. And if you are lifting the right foot off the floor, I want you to start pulsing that leg up and down, moving from the hip socket. Yeah, for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to switch directions so you can see me if you need to. Okay, so you're going to keep that right foot lifted. We did this last week, I think. You're going to pull the knee towards the chest and then place the foot on the floor pointing forward in front of you. Okay? The left knee can be doing whatever it needs to do. And then you're going to reach that right bicep towards the ear again and find a little side stretch here. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, bring the right hand down onto the floor underneath you. Pivot on that right foot so that the toes are pointing forward, and adjust yourself into your low lunge again. So here we are. Right foot forward, left knee back. And then if it works for you, lift that left knee off the floor, please. Okay. So the inner thigh of that left leg is rotating up towards the ceiling just a bit here. And the right heel is dragging back isometrically to create some engagement in the hamstring on the right side. And then walk your hands up to your right thigh, please. So the tailbone is pointing back, the shoulder blades are glued to the back body, and again, you're pulling the chin up and back. Hollow out the low belly. And then if you want to, pull the hands off the thigh and bring them back behind you. Okay, we're gonna come into crescent lunge, but I want you to activate this change in shape by the left knee bending. So you're gonna start to bend the left knee to rise the torso up till the shoulders are above the hips. Okay, pull your inner thighs together and float the rib cage away from the pelvis as you keep the shoulders soft. Okay. So I want you to stay nice and rooted through that left heel, the right heel, and keep the muscles on that right hip as engaged as possible. Bring hands to heart center. Try to keep the shape of this left knee as you step the left foot forward. So the right knee. Okay. So now you're in like a modified chair. Yeah, you guys did it. Okay. Then you're gonna try to keep the shape of that right knee again. Tuck the right hip underneath you. Step back to your crescent lunge and maybe fall over like I almost did. It's hard. 2 more times, okay? Tuck the right hip underneath you. Step the left foot forward. Try to keep the shape. Step the left foot back. This builds heat fast. 1 more, okay? Root down through the right heel. Step the left foot forward. Keep rooting down to the right heel. Step the left foot back. Okay, hands to the floor. Step back, downward facing dog. Pedal your feet. Find your breath. Come up to the balls of your feet, please. Roll your heels to the right. And then start to bend your knees, tracking over the center of your feet. Little side stretch on the side. And then up through center, so come the balls of the feet. Roll the heels to the left. Bend your knees to track over those feet. Come back to center. Downward facing dog. And then child's pose, please. Knees down, hips over heels. Right, again, right, finding your center by way of your breath. Give the mind something really simple to focus on. And then take a clearing breath. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. And then as you're ready, we'll come on up to tabletop position. So again, sway your hips from side to side a few times, please, just to find that little stretch, the center of the hips. Yeah, and some of you are intuitively moving how your body needs it. That's awesome. Okay, so really we just kind of start with this shape. Just settle into our bodies and communicate with it, find some softness. Okay. And then we give it some structure, right? So then we find that alignment in our tabletop position, right? So again, wrap the triceps back, thinking about the shoulder blades and how they're helping to stabilize your shoulders. Back of the skull lifting up and back, low belly is lifting up, okay? And then press the sole of the left foot up towards the ceiling, really strong glute. And as you do this, right, sometimes we start to bow into the low back. So I want you to cinch your low ribs and pull your pubic bone up. Okay, and then draw 3 circles with that left knee in one direction. as you breathe. And then 3 in the other direction. Okay, come to center. Knee stays bent for a moment. And then straighten the left leg. Bring the ball of that left foot down, pivot till the heel is plugged down on the floor. And then think about what the right shoulder blade is doing. Glue it to the back body as you rise yourself up into your side plank. Okay. And then maybe that left bicep comes to the ear as the right ear drifts down to the shoulder. You're just trying to open up all the way along the line to the left side of the body here. Reminder that you can pivot on that right knee to get a little more stability. You're having a hard time kind of settling into the shape and the breath. Okay, stay here if this is really good for you. If you want to change, you can bring the left hand to the hip and then float that left foot off the floor. And if you're doing this guy, I want you to start to make little baby pulses up and down with that left leg. The movement starts right at the center of that left butt cheek, but right deep in the hip. 5, 4, stay soft. 3, 2, 1. Okay, lift the leg if you haven't already. Bend the knee towards the chest. This is where I almost fall over. Okay, then the foot comes to the floor with the toes pointing forward, like almost line up with your belly button to start with. And then you bring the left arm along the ear again. So this is just a different access point to getting like some deep muscles in the back and the hip. Okay. And then we'll pivot into our lunge. So you're going to rotate those left toes forward towards the front of your mat as you bring the left hand down. Adjust the distance of your legs as much as you need to here. Right toes are hooked. Lift the right knee off the floor. Activate your adductors, right? So the inner thigh on that right side is rotating up towards the ceiling just a bit. The left inner thigh is pulling back. Hollow out the belly, start to feel lighter in the hands as you lift them up to your thigh. Press your hands into your thigh to encourage the chest lifting and lengthening. Slide the shoulder blades down the back. Tuck the chin. Breathe. And then maybe pull the hands back behind you so we're activating all the muscles along the spine here. And then this right knee is what's going to generate us coming upright, right? So the right knee starts to bend as we start to come upright, shoulders over the hips. Okay. Soften the shoulders. Okay. Hands come to heart center. Okay. Think about this left hip tucking underneath you. Root down through the left heel. And then try to keep this bend of the left knee as you step the right foot forward. This is a lot of work in that left hip socket. Okay. Then step the right foot back, find your crescent lunge. Just do that a couple more times. So up, forward. Yeah. And then back. Just one more. And forward. Strong left hip. And then back. Okay. And then hands to the floor. And step back downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in. And then move through a flow. So exhale, shift forward to plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Inhale to up dog or cobra. Exhale to downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Okay, and then we'll do those little side stretches again. So on your next inhale, come to the balls of your feet. Roll the heels to the left. Bend the knees, tracking over the center of your feet. Your heels might root down a little bit here. Try to keep the shoulders square. Then you come up through center, roll the heels to the right, bend the knees, tracking them over the center of the feet. Then come back to center. Root the heels down. Press the hands down and forward. So you're getting lots of length here. And then start to roll the weight back into the heels as you walk your hands back towards your feet, coming into that little squatty lunge thing again here, where you're resting your belly on your knees, on your thighs, letting the head hang. And then slowly walk your hands up your legs and come to standing. Shrug the shoulders up, back and down. Okay. This is always fun. I don't do this very often because I usually fall over. Let's try this balancing, okay? So come to your Tadasana, bring your hands into your hips. Root down into the right foot and lift the left knee up towards the chest. So we're going to attempt to get into warrior one from this shape, okay? So I want you to stay really steady in that right hip as you step as far forward as you can to come into warrior one. Kind of a different way of putting balance. Rotate the right heel down and find your Virabhadrasana one, okay? So we're here. Just want to demo this part for you. Yeah. Bring the arms out to the side and rotate the thumbs down. Okay, good. So again, before we start to pay attention to what's going on in the upper body, again, make sure, right, triple S, the sacrum, the scapula, and the skull are lined up here, and the pubic bone is lifting, so we're nice and broad. Tops of the shoulders are soft. Rotate the thumbs up as you bend the elbows and squeeze the arms down towards the sides of the body. Then inhale, rotate the arms out. Exhale, bring them down. This is a kind of flossing, right? This is kind of like a shoulder girdle opener. Let's do this a few times. Good. The neck stays nice and long the whole time. Okay. Next time your arms are out to the side, please keep them there. Okay. And then bring the hands behind the back. Now, can you squeeze the shoulder blades without extending the upper back? So it may not be as deep of a heart opener. Okay. I have my hands interlaced. If that doesn't feel good for you, you can rub your wrists, you can bring your hands to your back. Okay. Keep pulling the left hip underneath you, and we'll find humble warrior. So start to lean forward. As you lean forward, plug down through that back foot for stability. Maybe the shoulder comes inside the knee. Maybe you pull the hands away from the body. Breathe here. Feel your feet like they're trying to rip your mat apart. Where can you soften? How does the throat feel in the forehead? Okay, on your next exhale, just drift your fingertips down to the floor or the blocks or whatever you need here. And then we're gonna just bunny hop this back foot forward, just a little bit coming into pyramid. So as we get into this shape, be generous with the bend of your right knee, or the left knee, sorry. Think more about the hip pulling back as opposed to trying to straighten the left knee, okay? So you're plugged down through the big toe mound, and you're coaxing that left hip back, and with that action, maybe the knee starts to straighten a bit here. And then bring your hands to your low back. Okay, so as you do this, you have to naturally kind of lift. So again, think about the back of the skull, the shoulder blades, and the sacrum. Can you line them up as you send your tailbone back? If this is creating pain, please bring your hands to your thigh. Okay, again, continue this action of coaxing the left hip back, but at the same time, rotate your inner thighs towards each other behind you. Then take your right hand to your right thigh, please, your left thigh. Man, I'm having a day with rights and lefts. Okay, try to keep the low back where it's at, and then steer your left shoulder up towards the ceiling. So this might be a little tiny movement. Plug down through the big toe mound of the left foot, all the way up to the outer left hip. Breathe. Breathe. Okay, unwind. Ooh, hands to the floor. Step back to downward facing dog, please. Pedal your feet. Find your alignment. And then move through a flow if you want to, right? So exhale, shift forward to plank. Keep exhaling as you lower half fire all the way down. Inhale to your back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bring your awareness to your breath. Okay, and then we'll make our way to the back of our mats again. So roll the weight into the heels as you walk your hands back, let the knees be bent, let the hinge of your hips be deep. Stay here for a moment, settle in, feel that openness in the back, and then walk your hands up your legs and come to standing. Make any adjustments. Okay. And then we'll take that big stomp step on the other side. You're gonna bring your weight into your left foot. I like to keep my hands on my hip point so that I'm staying pretty steady here, not cocking my hip up really high. So maybe you do that too. Okay. Then the right knee comes up towards the chest. Okay. And then it's like you're trying to traject that right foot as forward as you can. That feels safe to come into your warrior one on the other side. Yeah. Left knee's down, find your alignment. Right? Tailbone again is pointing down towards the back heel. And then we'll do that little shoulder blade floss thing again. So you're gonna bring the arms out to the side with the thumbs pointing down. This area is soft the whole time, okay? So the neck and the shoulders. And then you just twist the thumbs up and then bring the elbows to the side of the body. Again, can you think of this movement happening in the scapulas, the shoulder blades? So exhale, elbows. Feel how your hips are supporting you as you do this movement. Three more. Okay, next time the arms are out, we leave them. Then we bring them behind the body. Again, you're finding this heart opener, but not an extension in the upper spine. So just squeeze the shoulder blades, puff up the chest maybe a bit. Coax the right hip underneath you as you lead the chest and your long spine forward. Plugging down through the left foot as you start to humble your warrior. Maybe the shoulder comes inside the knee, not necessary though. Okay, maybe you want to pull the hands away from the back, not necessary either though. Might be helpful to think again of your feet, like they're trying to rip your mat apart. Nice and stable. Okay, next exhale. Drift the hands down to the floor or to your props. And then just bunny hop that left foot forward so you're closing the gap between your feet. Coming into pyramid pose, but keep a bend in that right knee to begin with, please. Okay? Then use the action of that right hip tucking underneath you to maybe straighten the right leg a little bit as you plug down into the big toe mound. Okay? And then from here, if it feels safe for you, you're going to bring the hands to the low back and then lift the back of the skull and the shoulder blades up just a bit here. So it's a kind of an engaged shape. Keep coaxing the right hip back. Okay, and then maybe from here you take this left forearm or hand to the right thigh and steer the right shoulder up towards the ceiling, trying to keep the low back pretty broad here. Continue to pull the right hip back. Press down into a gas pedal with your right foot. Breathe. Good. Inhale, please. Exhale, close it down. Hands come to the floor. Step back downward facing dog. Bring a little bit of movement here if you want to. And then through a flow as you're ready. So exhale. Shift forward to your plank. Shift this if you want to, right? If you want to keep going, exhale halfway all the way down. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, down dog. And then find a resting shape. So might be where you're at, might be child's pose, might be seated. What is the mind focusing on? Can you simplify? Can you go to the simplest thing possible to focus on? Take a deep breath in and out, please. And then transition back to downward facing dog, please. Okay, and then from your down dog, just start to tiptoe your feet to your hands, and then fold at the front of your mat. And then roll yourself up. So feel your glutes charge down on the back body as you straighten up. Yeah. Love it. You all are doing something different. Okay. And then we're going to come into a wide leg stance. So step forward or back with whichever foot you want to. Okay. Let's start with the feet parallel-ish. Okay. And the hands are like right again where the thighs and the pelvis meet. And then you just kind of do this little hip cock thing from one side to the other. So that you're thinking about the head of your thigh bone moving in the hip socket. So you're just like, it's like you are scrubbing it out gently. Just be gentle. Okay. As you do this, what are you feeling? Like, do you feel tension in the hips, in the outer hips, the inner thighs, maybe nothing? Okay. And then start to create circles with that movement. So then it's like that ball and socket joint, right? So then it's the head of the femur moving in a circular motion in the sockets of the hips in one direction. Breathe. And then the other direction. Good. Okay. Come to center. Find that crease of your hips. Dig your fingers into that space as you press your bum back to come into a wide leg forward fold. So really hinging at the hips here, until eventually the fingertips come to the floor or blocks. And then for starts, just let the head hang. Maybe take a horsey breath, right? So inhale through the nose, blow out the lips, shake your head. Let the weight of your skull help decompress the upper back, the shoulders. Good. And then we're going to start to move a little bit from side to side. So just bend the right knee, shift your weight to the right, but keep the weight back. Okay, so keep that deep hinge of the hips as you sway from side to side. Nice. Take your time. Okay, come to center. Okay, and then start to, keeping the pelvis where it's at, start to walk your hands towards your left foot. So as you're walking your hands towards your left foot, keep coaxing the right hip back. So it's a little bit of a twist, a little bit of a side stretch here. So we're all going to land somewhere differently, I imagine. If you want to create more of a spinal twist here, you're going to take the right hand and grab like maybe the outside of the left ankle if you can do that safely, or maybe like on the floor or near the foot. And then the left fingertip start to walk forward and back till the upper back starts to twist. You might even begin to look underneath your left armpit here. But all the while, keep the low back broad. Keep the right hip coaxed back. We'll just switch to the other side. So unwind yourself. Walk your hands to your right foot as you coax your left hip back. Okay. So the twist is happening in the upper spine. And then if you want to, maybe you grab the outside of the right ankle or foot or plant it on the floor. And then the right hand starts to walk forward and then towards the left as you pretzel yourself, right? So you're just looking underneath that right armpit maybe. It helps to keep an engagement in the low belly to protect the low back. Relax the jaw. Okay. Go ahead and untwist yourself, please. Come back to center. And then one more time, swaying from side to side. If it'll feel better in your body, maybe you pivot your toes out to 45 degrees to do a little more traditional Tadasana movement, right? Where you're in those low lunge movements. Or maybe you like it with the feet parallel. Really, I just want you moving laterally. I want you moving from your left side to your right side of your body. Okay? And then eventually, you're going to make your way so that your hands are at the front of your mat. You pivot on your feet and step back to your downward facing dog. Then shift yourself forward to your plank. And then lower yourself down to your belly squeeze. Beautiful. That was so controlled. Okay, and then we're gonna come into Sphinx for a moment. So bring the elbows underneath the shoulders. Okay. Again, can you think about this movement happening from the scapula? So squeeze the shoulder blades together and down the back body. As you broaden through the collarbones and maybe look up. If you're feeling any sort of compression in your low back, try walking your hands forward to soften the back bend. Okay. There's an element of engagement here where the belly is slightly lifted, but you want to let the weight of the rib cage slide down towards the floor. And if you want to, maybe you draw a couple of circles with your nose one direction. And then the other. Okay. Then we come to center. Pivot on your right elbow so that your right forearm is approximately parallel with the front of your mat. And then just pull yourself over onto your side. Okay? So having the elbow beneath your shoulder as best you can. Kind of the same idea here as you were doing in Sphinx. I want you to just let the rib cage sink down as that right shoulder comes up towards the ear. So we're targeting a lateral stretch on the right side of the body. If you like to do lots of things at the same time, you can also lift this left foot off the floor, bend the left knee, grab the ankle, and stretch here. But, you know, we're going for simple, so I don't know if that's simple for you. Okay. Ready again, like what are you sacrificing to get to this? Nice, you guys, 2 more breaths, please. You've got the bind of that left ankle, please let it go. I think Laura's doing this, it's kind of inspiring me. Take that left foot and bring it in front of you for a moment and start to work that left foot up towards the face. You can see half of your body, Laura, but I think you're doing this. Coax this left hip back. So it gives you kind of a nice stretch all along the side of that leg. Oh. Take a deep breath in, and you'll notice your foot actually deepens the stretch. So how much are you pressing the inside sole of your left foot forward? Oh, mama. Yeah. Okay, and then we'll just transition to the other side. So stack your legs, roll onto your bellies. Maybe take a moment here if this feels good. And then roll onto your left side, please. Okay. So the left elbow is beneath the shoulder. Start with this guy, okay? And then you let the shoulder start to come up towards the ear as the rib sinks down, so you're stretching that side body of the ear. Okay, and then if you want to deepen, maybe you lift the right leg up, bend the right knee, grab a hold here. Okay, but again, being mindful, like we're not soft in this shape, we're engaged, so that right glute is wrapping down the back body. Okay, and then if you've got the right knee bent, go ahead and straighten it, and then slide the right leg forward. So the inside of that right foot is on the floor. You just kind of start to slide it up as you pull the right hip back. Okay, and then let the foot be the thing that deepens the stretch for you. So maybe you press the inside sole of the right foot forward as the outer edge of the right foot comes back. Nice, okay. And then go ahead and slide that right leg on top of the left. And then we'll just roll onto our backs. That seems like a natural position. Okay. You might grab like cozy stuff when you get down there, because we're gonna maybe do like 1 or 2 more stretches and then finish it off. Okay, so as you come onto your back, hug your knees to your chest, roll onto your back body. Okay. And then let's do figure 4. So feet come on the floor, right ankle comes on the left thigh. Okay, and we're going to be pretty active about this. So if you can, keep your arms on the floor here. Pull the thigh bones away from each other so you're really active all around the hips. And then from here, without using your hands, pull the legs up towards the body. If that feels safe for you, you can keep the foot on the floor too. But the whole time, the thigh bones are pulling apart. They're pulling away from each other here. And then maybe hollow out your belly a little bit so you broaden through the low back. And then go ahead and release that side. Left foot comes to the floor. And cross the right foot off the thigh. Then left ankle on the right thigh. Engage first, so pull the thigh bones away from each other. And then using the strength of your low belly, pull the legs towards the body while you continue to pull the thighs apart. Broaden through the low back. Good, okay. And then let that right foot drift down to the floor and cross the leg. And then again, windshield wiper the knees from side to side, please, right? So when the knees come to the right, you squeeze the left glute, maybe press the inside edge of your left foot down on the floor. We're gonna have to deepen that stretch. And then as the knees roll to the left, you squeeze the right glute and press the right inside sole of the foot to the floor. Just move back and forth with that. Okay, and then anything else you'd like before Shavasana? I might suggest just like floating your feet up towards the ceiling and shaking them out. Yeah, maybe you want a happy baby. Yeah. And then trust your intuition and your instincts if you feel like, oh, I want to, whatever, do that thing. Yeah. And when you're satisfied, come into your final relaxation shape. So we're all in our homes, I'm assuming, and I don't know how comfortable you are with making sound. But I would suggest, if you can, before you drift off into your Shavasana, to take a something to that nature where you're creating some vibration in the chest. So doing that a couple of times to encourage the nervous system to settle. Yogis virtue. One thing was not so. No more same. No more same. No more same. No. Shanti. Start to bring your attention back to your body, please. Feel your breath. And then gently start to find movement. Waking yourself up. Slowly transitioning back to the seated shape. And so I've been offering alternate nostril breathing at the end of all of my classes now as a nice pranayama. If that doesn't work for you, then just breathing through both nasal passages. But if you'd like to join, we're going to take the middle finger of the right hand and rest it on that spot above and between the eyebrows. The thumb rests on the right nasal passage, and the pinky or the ring finger, depending on your anatomy, will be on the left nostril, okay? Keep the shoulders soft, the chest is open. Go ahead and exhale completely out of both nasal passages. Close the right, inhale through left. Top of that inhale, close your left, hold for a moment. Then open right, exhale. Inhale right. Close, hold. Exhale left. And then just moving at your own pace. You guys all have this practice.
Okay, next time you exhale out the right nasal passage. Go ahead and let that go. Let your hands drip down to your lap. Stay in that meditative space though, yeah, noticing the sensation of the breath moving in and out of both nostrils. And if it's comfortable for you, bringing your hands to heart center one more time. Thumbs press into the chest, chest rises to meet the thumbs. And then if you'd like to join, we'll close by chanting Om. So please take a deep breath into chant. Om. Shanti, 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 peace, peace, peace. May you remember your true nature, which is love, trust, and reasonless joy. And may you remember that you are strong and wise. Thank you for being you and for sharing it. Namaste.